Welcome back now to the war, Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been in Lithuania, his first visit outside of Ukraine this year. He was there to discuss the war with Russia and Ukraine's integration into the EU and NATO. Support for Ukraine in the Baltics has remained resolute, while it has wavered in Washington. Ukraine in December received its last package of military aid from the United States until a divided Congress approves the Biden administration's funding request, which seeks to steel Ukraine as it prepares to enter its third year of the war. Mr. Zelensky said that what his country is sorely lacking is modern air defense systems. Speaking in Vilnius during a press conference with Newseda, Mr. Zelensky said that regarding the thing that as of today, we are unable to produce short-term together with our partners in modern air defense systems, and this is sorely lacking. Well, the VOA's Anna Chenikova joins us now from Kyiv. Anna, great to see you again today.
Good evening.
Right, so what was this trip? Why was it so important to the Ukrainian president?
We should understand that Lithuania, together with Estonia and Latvia, are those countries that, that create this, little coalition, which is a very strong coalition for Ukraine and important coalition for Ukraine, because these countries, they're close in terms of location to Russia as well, and there is this understanding, at least inside of the Ukrainian society and Ukrainian officials, and as well as these countries, that if Ukraine will not survive this aggression from Russia, these countries might be the next. So both Ukraine and Lithuania, particularly, and Latvia and Estonia as well, are interested to make it possible for Ukraine to basically defend all these countries. And this is not a big surprise that President Zelensky visited Lithuania as his first trip this year. We see that at least at this moment we have confirmation that Ukraine president himself already signed a couple of agreements on the defense cooperation with Lithuanian companies, between Lithuania and Ukraine, particularly Ukrainian and Lithuanian companies. So it looks like that these countries, Lithuania in particular, are ready to provide this immediate support in a short term, because Ukraine, according to Ukrainian officials, is doing everything possible to increase its own production. But we also understand from what Ukrainian authorities are saying that it's quite difficult to, at least to create this certain equipment and certain things in a short term.
And how can Lithuania help Ukraine in its quest to integrate, the country into the EU and NATO, which it so desperately wants to do?
Lithuania demonstrates a great support for Ukraine in this integration, in both integrations. So we can see that from the very beginning, Lithuania was one of those countries that immediately supported Ukrainian decision and Ukrainian desire to join EU and NATO. So in this particular cases, Lithuania is definitely a very important ally, and Lithuania remains very supportive to Ukraine for all this over 10 years now of this war, and particularly for almost 2 complete years of the full-scale invasion.
And Anna, is Ukraine still keen on its membership with these groups?
Yeah, definitely. For Ukraine, I think that for Ukraine, it's important to be a part of of a group to get this, support and to get this defense in the future in case it's needed. But again, we understand that Ukraine hopes that when joining these groups, it will be a preventive action for any additional aggression that might happen in the future. And if it happens, then Ukraine has more capacities. And in general, joining this group for Ukraine, meaning not only becoming a such a desirable part of this truly European family, considering Ukrainian past in the Soviet Union and Ukrainian desire of this past years, especially past 10 years in its European integration, and in general in its, of all this new independent era for Ukraine after the USSR. Ukraine was trying to get away from USSR past. So this is definitely the future for Ukraine, and this is how Ukraine sees its realization to join the groups. And of course, in terms of the defense and security, also for Ukraine, this is the way to go, because there is a clear understanding that Russian Federation remains in its place, and Russian Federation will not disappear. So Ukraine will always have this great danger next to its borders.
Right, yes. And, for a larger part of last year and, excuse me, when the war began, NATO was quite wary, as I believe, of admitting a country at war because for fear of spreading, the crisis to the neighbors and other regions. So as much as Ukraine still wants to be a part of, these groups, especially NATO, how keen is NATO now, as we are in 2024, in still admitting Ukraine?
Well, it's a very good question, and I think that it's really difficult to, at least for us, to say, knowing what we know, to say for sure. But how it looks at this point, Ukraine might be quite a great asset for NATO in terms of its capacities to fight, as we already can see. The 2 years of fighting with a side which is bigger, which is which has more capacities, with this aggressive state. With this aggressive state, and at the beginning of the fight, Ukraine had a very little chances, as everyone said that, it's almost impossible for Ukraine to stay, to remain and to stay strong alone. So we can see that with the support of the allies, with the support of all over the world, Ukraine managed to do so. So basically, Ukraine proved that it has capacities for to fight such strong opponent if it is supported by the allies. So I think that, and also we should also understand that if we look at the European map, at the NATO map as well, basically such war, which is happening now between Russia and Ukraine, is something that never happened in this, after Second World War era, at such scale in this area. So, definitely for NATO, Ukraine could be potentially an asset that already has an experience of such war. So, but again, it's really, I think that we should wait until the time when this question will be actually at the decisive moment, and we can see that Ukraine is on its way, and officially the process began. But again, we understand that the process can take quite a lot of time. So we should wait until the moment when this process gets to its final stage, and then we can see what pros and cons are in here. But I guess that Ukraine and NATO will find this, most of pros for both of the sides.
And as we discuss this, Anna, I think it's important that we ask what the situation has been in Kyiv today as regards Russian attacks.
Well, today is quite a calm day, so nothing really was happening during the day, no even air raid alarms. So I think that Kyiv citizens are getting some time to relax after this really crucial attacks which happened on the 29th of December and on the 2nd of January. And actually, the attack that happened on the 29th of December, the rescue operation, or the cleaning up, is still happening. And yesterday, another victim was found under the rubble. Another dead body was found. So Kyiv had some calm time today. But Kyiv citizens are getting ready for new attacks, we'll see. Ukrainian air defense and air forces say that the attacks might be happening again in some time.
Right, Anna, we must absolutely continue to thank you for your contributions in this very dangerous war, and ask that you continue to keep safe with your family. Thanks again, Anna.
Thank you.
Let's move on. Russia has delivered about 25,000 tons of grain to Guinea for handling and further shipment of flour to Mali. President of the High Council of Malians in Guinea, Mohamed Sidibé, says Russian grain supplies will stabilize the price of bread in the market so the consumer does not suffer from an increase in prices. Director General of the Mali Agricultural Produce Authority, Ousmane Dembélé, says revenue from the sale of Russian grain will be used to supply the local market. President Vladimir Putin of Russia had said that Moscow would deliver 25,000 to 50,000 tons of grain to 6 African countries free of charge. Back in November, the Russian Federal Customs Service released footage of 25,000 tons of grain being loaded onto a cargo ship in the port of Novorossiysk.